So we'll revise the yesterday session in 2 minutes. What we have discussed yesterday. So we have discussed about web technology. What is a web application? How many types of web application? Applications are two types, static and dynamic. So we are going to purely work with the dynamic applications one. Static means simple HTML and CSS. Okay. Next, and then we have discussed about in general what is the application flow. Next, we started with Angular application flow. Okay, so Angular will follow what type of design pattern?
MVC.
Angular will be follow MVC design pattern. So MVC is nothing but a model view controller. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so each software component will be choose one of the design pattern. Each software component will be choose one of the design pattern. Anything, even though if you know or intentionally know or without knowing also, so each program, for example, if you write hello world also, it will follow some design pattern, but no need to worry about those design patterns. Okay, MVC follow the Angular follow the MVC architectural design pattern. Let us see how this architectural design pattern will be there. Okay, hope able to see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, next I'm just designing. This is nothing but a MVC, M for model, V for view, next C for controller or a component. Controller or component. So in this MVC architectural design pattern, the incoming request will be come to the controller. The incoming request will be come to here. So this is my request. So this request will be processed. This will request will get the some information from API. That information will be sent to a model. Once a model is prepared, this will be taken back. The model will be taken back by controller or a component. So this information will be sent to your view to display the data. So this view will be send a response to the your browser. Okay, this view will be displayed on the browser response. So this is the architectural design pattern which we are following the Angular.
Krishna, I'm not able to see the screen.
Not only you or anybody. Hope
No,
everybody able to see, right?
I can see.
Okay, fine. Okay.
I can see, sir.
Okay, good. So MVC is nothing but a here the request will be handled by the controller or a component. As a part of Angular, your component or a controller is nothing but a TypeScript and a JavaScript, which is contains the TypeScript and JavaScript. Next, your model is nothing but a class file. Your model is nothing but a class file which contain the properties. Please take this diagram parallelly along with me. So your model is nothing but a class file. A class contains the properties. A class contains the properties. Sir, what is this class? What is this TypeScript? What is the JavaScript? We'll explain. Next, your view is nothing but a HTML page and CSS. HTML and CSS. So this is the what in general MVC architecture used by the Angular. Okay, please take this. So if anybody having any doubts, at the last we'll discuss the doubts. In between, if you got any struck, please raise a hand. Okay, I will answer for that one. Okay, done, right? I will explain that matter here.
So Krishna, hi. So actually, this problem while explaining this MVC pattern in the interview actually.
Yes.
So we feel very complex. Actually it is not complex, but we feel while explaining we stuck. So what is the reason? I don't know.
Correct.
Why
No
we
need to
stuck?
worry. I'm going to give the notes, right? Now by this class you will get a clarification on this. Okay. So please take this diagram first. Hope everybody taken the diagram.
Yes.
So MVC simply MVC pattern, it will take the incoming request. So this controller will fetch some information from service. Okay, this information is hand over to your model. Model will be the hold the data. This hold the data will be sent to a view. This view will process the data and send the response to the user. So this is the what MVC flow will be there. Okay, here first one is model. A model is a class file. A model is a class file which contains properties. Model is a simple a class file which contains the properties. This model will holds the data. This model will holds the data. So bit you can able to answer this one. Anybody ask? So M for the model. Model contains the properties. The model will be holds the data. Next view. View is a HTML page. Simply your view is a HTML page and contains styling. This view will display the content. This view will display the content. Where to display the content? Nothing but it will send the response to the browser. Model view. Next one is the, in general it is called as a controller. Here as a part of our Angular, it is a component. As a part of Angular, this controller is nothing but a component. Controller is responsible for incoming request. Who will give the request? For example, if you open any flight booking site, so this site is something is loading here. This request will be go to the controller first. If it is designed in a Angular, okay. So controller is the responsible incoming request and get the data from API and call the model and bind data to model. Incoming request, get the data from API and call the model to bind the data. Next, it will call the view and pass the model to bind the data and send response. This is the process is going on. You can able to explain like this. Simply, a model is simply a class file which contain the property, hold the data. Next, view is nothing but what the user is going to see. HTML content and having the styling is nothing but a view. Next one is a controller. A controller is nothing but it is responsible for the incoming request. Once the incoming request is come, it will fetch some information. The information will be handed over to a model and the model will be bind the information and send to a component. This component will be called the respective view and it will bind the data. All these things we'll see practically. All these things we'll see practical. Okay.
Krishna, so I have seen somewhere MVVC architectural for the Angular somewhere.
That leave it.
It is based on the MVVC.
No. MVC only.
MVC only, no? Okay.
MVC only. The direct Angular site you can able to refer MVC only. MVC is nothing but a model view controller. MVVC is nothing but where you have the two models, single model on. Okay. Next. So let us see the practical. So how to run a solution? In the earlier sessions, we have created Angular EX. Hope everybody have that done with the setup. Please don't create inside of the C folder. Please try to have one more separate D. If you don't have the separate D, you can able to create any on the desktop or somewhere else. Don't be create inside of user. Okay. Still, if you have the facing the problem, you can text me. I can able to see. We'll connect and we'll solve your issue. So how to run your Angular application? So this is my Angular application. Go to the address bar. Type command. Go Go to the address bar, select here, type cmd, it will open a command prompt. So here you need to be run ng serve or npm start, anything can be fine. Npm start will be called ng serve. Press enter. It will take 2 to 3 minutes, or else if you're having the SSD or HDD, so based on that system performance will be changed after Windows 10. Okay. Next, so the code is going to compile. Meantime, I need to open a code. So already hope everybody install Visual Studio Code. Open the Visual Studio Code. Okay. Go to the file, open folder. Go to the file, open folder. Open the file, go to the folder. So see here, Angular EX. Go SRC, select SRC and select a folder. Okay, this will be open. Okay, so this is the one approach. So few people will be follow one more approach. Simply you can able to call, anything can be fine. Initially you can able to go with Visual Studio Code and then you can able to use. Few people will be do like this. They will type a command here, code space dot. So this command will be invoke Visual Studio Code with that respective folder. With that respective folder. Okay. Once you loaded, right, please close this command. Otherwise, you will unexpectedly type ng serve here. Ng serve will not be do inside of SRC. It always outside of SRC. Ng serve will be perform outside of SRC. Okay. Next. So let me load my solution. My solution is running on which port? Localhost 4200. You can able to copy
4200.
or else you can able to type here. Okay. Next. So once it is ready, simply go to app component HTML. So initially, please be focused on app component HTML for 2 to 3 sessions. Later in the sessions, we will see different files. Okay. So add some name. Try to add your name, or else Angular session. Angular session and your name. For example, I want to add Krishna. Okay. So immediately it will replicate. See here, whenever if your data is not replicated, maybe your system can be slow or something else. How to solve this issue? Simply stop this and rerun the command. Sometimes command will be stop working. Please rerun it. So my data is not replicating. People keep on asking. Simply stop that one. Reload the solution. I mean, rerun the command. Yes, Vijay.
Krishna. Yeah. Actually, this solution file will be not there for Angular, like Visual Studio.
No. So solution file is nothing but .NET based. .NET based. Don't be compare that one here. You don't have any solution.
Directly, we can run
not directly. You don't have any
from the
solution.
path. Okay.
Okay. See here.
Where can I find the 4200? How
Once
to
you
know?
come, once you run this right, you can able to find here. Okay. Copy this. You can able to open a browser, paste here. So by default, Angular applications will be run on 4200. By default, React.js applications run on 3000. Okay. So in general, if you by practice, it will become. Or else you can able to. Yes. So it will be once you compile the code, any type of application, it will be show. It will be C. What type of the things. You no need a separate IIS to be host. By default, node will become a host your application. Okay. So leave that point. Leave that point. So now my application is running. So here I have hard coded the data. My name is hard coded. So now I will explain. See, this is my component. Correct? This is my component. Inside of my component, app component HTML file will be mentioned. So the respective view is nothing but this HTML. So HTML and CSS are nothing but my view to be load on the UI. Next, where is my model? Where is my model? So by default models will be not there until you create it. Until you created, models will not be available. You should create manually the model. Okay. Next, so now we have simply shown the data. Give me a second. Give me a second, please. Let me take the attendance. Perfect, done. So now where is my data? My data is shown here. Okay. So instead of here, can I get this data from component? Yes. Okay. So whatever I'm going to follow the model, simply follow me. Simply follow me. No need to compare any other things. No need to compare any Google. No need to compare any other thing. Whatever I'm going to dictate, simply follow. So he see here, if you observe, my name is hard coded. So instead of hard coding here, can I get from component? Yes, I can able to get this code from a component. How to get the component? First, I need to declare the variable. Now question will become, what is a variable? I will explain what is the variable. Types of variables, we'll see it. Okay. So here I said, right, model will be responsible to hold the data. Model will be responsible to hold the data. Model contain the properties. These properties are nothing but your variables. These properties are nothing but data types. Okay. I will give the notes. Please bear with me. So this is my variable. I want to bind this data. How to bind this data? Go here, simply type 2 curly braces to bind the data. Your name will become, no, it will throw a issue first. Why so? Server is not running frequently for me. Okay. Next. So in this process, we need to be follow the 3 steps. I will give the notes for all the 3 steps. Okay. Just see it. Step number 1, to bind the data, we need to be import. We need to be import forms module. I will give all the steps. Give me 2 minutes. Forms module. Next, step number 2, you need to mention in the imports. That's it. Done. So the data will become. Okay. Sir, the people will be confused here. Directly you are going to the coding. So here, what is this variable? How you create it? Yes. So this is nothing but a TypeScript programming. So what is meant by this TypeScript? This is called TypeScript programming. Okay. So I will explain about the TypeScript for programming. So now go to the notes, take it as a heading. TypeScript. Angular uses the TypeScript as a programming language. So by default, our Angular applications are going to use, a TypeScript programming language. Okay. Next. TypeScript is developed and maintained by Microsoft from 2012. So which is developed in the Microsoft in the 2012. Okay, 2012. So if you see AngularJS is coming to the world 2010. Once Microsoft given this TypeScript, because of this TypeScript, in the nature of the TypeScript, Angular 2 is very easy. If you compare to the AngularJS, Angular 2 is very easy because of its features. Number of features are it is. What is this TypeScript? So in yesterday's session, if you observe what I said, browser understand JavaScript only. But what is this TypeScript? TypeScript is a super super script of JavaScript. So TypeScript developed on the top of JavaScript with syntactical changes. Simply syntactical changes, that's it. Whatever you are going to write, right? So repeated code will be there. Those type of repetition will be simply avoided in the TypeScript. Next, TypeScript will follows oops principles. Oops principles. TypeScript will be follow oops principles. Next, TypeScript will have typed data types. You simply call as a typed annotations. So what is this? In JavaScript, all data types are treated as dynamic. Simply where let const. So no need to worry. All these things are we are going to discuss. Let us have a simple note. What is a TypeScript? Who given the TypeScript? What are the features of the TypeScript? Simply. Next, TypeScript contains classes, interfaces, enums, what else? Tuples, etc. TypeScript is very easy compared to the JavaScript, but it is easy means it is simply sugar coated on the top of the your JavaScript only. So the sugar coated thing is very tasty, right? Same here also. The sugar coated item is very tasty. Without sugar means without sugar an item, if you want to trying to take it, right? There is a no taste. If you taste it, the sugar coated item here it is very tasty. Okay. TypeScript contains the classes, interface, enums, etc. Okay. So let me see. So here I can able to print the output. So this is the TypeScript coding. If I say here, so what I did here, simply I created a variable. What is this variable? Now the doubt is, what is this variable? How many types of these variables? So how to use with variables? How to work with variables? All these doubts will become. Okay. So let us have a detail flow diagram of a data types. Next, take a heading, data types. Data type will holds the data. Data type, wait second. Data type used to create a variable. Data type used to create a variable. Variable will holds the data. Yes, variable only will holds the data. Can we see practically? Yes, I will show you one live practical example. So here you are having the flight booking site, right? So let me inspect. Go to the network. So you don't need to worry. Simply let me simply follow like this. So I want to search flights. Something was happening. Search operation is happening. Okay. So if observe here, something string Hyderabad. Next, string something else. So these are nothing but a data types. See, if you observe here, so this is my variable. So adults is nothing but a variable. This is my variable. The data type is whatever the type we will see later. Next, class is nothing but a variable. Airlines is nothing but a variable. Page, all these are variables which will hold the data. Yes or no? See here, origin is a variable which will be holds some information. Destination is a variable which will be hold some information. Okay, so as a user, if you requested, right, so you requested so and so website. Okay, once you requested a website, this is my requested URL. See here, same URL will be appear here, cleartrip.com, so and so, so and so, so and so. Next, payload will be the data carriers. The data will be transferred by using the variables. The data will be transferred by using the variables. Next, the second side API will be there. It will consume the data. It will consume the data. So all these things we will going to see practical. Even though anybody if not able to understand by this point, no need to worry. Within a 10 days, you are going to see a change within you. Okay, that I will guarantee. That I will guarantee. You can able to ask a question anytime. 10 days also happening. I don't know anything. Still, I was confused. No. Okay, that is open question. Any can ask at that time. So here I am saying that one. So these data types are a variables. These are nothing but a holding the data. Data variables are a carrier of data. Okay. For example, if I want to post some telegram, what I need to do? The postman will be the carrier. If you want to send some information, data variables are the carriers here. Data variables are the carriers here. Okay, if I want to post something else, I need to package the luggage. I need to give to the so and so courier service. The courier service will be the carrier for my luggage. Here also. Next, data types. Take a heading, data types. Data types. So parallelly take these types. Take a heading, data types. Data types. How many types of data types are there? In general, in the live project, if you want to send the information, there is a 2 types of data types are there. Okay, if you want to send the information, 2 types of data types are there. First one is called as primitive data type, or primitive data type, or you can able to call it as value type as well as primitive data type, or you can able to call a value type as well as. Second one is nothing but a non-primitive. Take it as flow diagram. First one is the primitive data type. Second one is the non-primitive data type, or nothing but a reference data type. So if you know how to handle a data types and how to handle the functions, 90% your course is completed. For able to handle how to handle the data with a variables, how to handle data with the functions, nothing but a logical thinking. So 90% your subject is completed. Okay, so what are command or non-primitive data type? I will explain. So first, non-primitive is nothing but a first one is the character. Second one is the number. Next one is yes, I will go it. You can please mute. I know more than half members know all these things. Boolean. Okay, character, number, and Boolean. These 3 are the data types. Yes. Null and undefined we'll discuss later. Those are not any data type, but in the part of JavaScript, null going to assign, you can able to say null is the type. In part of other languages, null and undefined are not a data types. Okay, in part of JavaScript only null and undefined are the types people will be take. Okay, these are the 3 types. Please take it. Why so in the JavaScript null is a data type also I will explain. Next, non-primitive. Non-primitive is nothing but a, what are those? So make it as
array, object.
No. We'll go fast one by one. What is the first
Array.
one?
Array.
No.
Object.
String is the first one. String. So you're having the character, right? String is the first one. Next.
Object and array.
Object is the next one, and then array is the next one. Here.
enums.
Next.
Enum. Enumeration.
So enumeration can be data which is the constant data. So I'm not going to give that one. Okay. Next one, if I say, I can able to say class and interface, class or interface. So data types are the data carriers. Okay. Character will carry some data, number will carry data. If you say enum, enum will carry the data. No. Enum is the constant variable. Enum can be a variable which having the constant information. Enum will never carry the data. Got it, Karthik? So we can't able to say enum in a data type. Got the reason?
Okay, sir.
So we'll use the enums. Enums are the named constants, named integer constants to hold some data, constant data, but which are not used for the carriers. Okay. So is that done?
I think how can string is the reference data type, primitive, non-primitive data type?
String is
I don't think
non-primitive
so. It
data.
is a primitive data type.
No, don't be think so. It is the non-primitive data type only. Okay. So the reason behind the primitive and non-primitive is primitive having the fixed size, fixed memory size. Non-primitive will vary the size of the data. Okay, but as a part of the UI guy, you can't able to see the specific size. Backend guys are there in my session. Maybe they can able to see. Correct. If you right click on the int, go to the definition, there you are going to see 2 something, 2 close or 2 lakh something up to -2 something. As a part of the UI also, you are going to be learn data types. You don't have the specific size here. If you want to see the specific size, integer will have the specific size, character will have the specific size, boolean have the specific size, string, object, array and class don't have any specific size, which are dynamic in the nature. So that's why these are nothing but a reference types. Okay, hope it is completed. Next. So this is the my name. What type of data type I have used? String. Correct. So to represent this character, you can able to use char in terms of TypeScript. I'm saying, if you want to represent a number, can be float, number can be double, number can be a integer, whatever it is, number is represented by using the number. Next, boolean is represented by using the boolean. String is represented by using a string. Object also represented in a 2 ways. We'll see all the 2 ways, either literal type or else object type. Okay. Next, array also going to represent. First one is the literal type. Next one is the object type. Okay. So we'll detail. We'll see it. What this literal type. Each data type we are going to see. Okay. So hope everybody taking the diagram right. Next, I want to print some user details. Simply, I want to print simple user details. User details. So I added 2 slashes for a comment. Okay. Name, ID. If I say ID, ID is the number or a string. ID is a number. Okay. Email, ID, name, email. Email is string type only. k@gmail.com. So take it as example. Simply take this one as example. Data types already have taken that one, right? Take example and print these details. Okay, hope everybody done with this diagram. or else you can able to take a screenshot. So these are the data types. Initially, please by heart. Later, you can able to by practice all these things. You also going to remember. No need to worry. So whoever thinking new for this Angular, no need to worry. So initially, just have a look on this one. So if you want to remember, simply you can able to see your keyboard. Do you have computer keyboard? First, if you type a key is nothing but a character. You are having the number, but you can't. You don't be able to see the boolean. So series of characters are nothing but a word. Word is a string here. Collection of the words are nothing but object. Collection of object or strings are nothing but array. Okay, like this it will be go. Okay, next take this one as a simple example. ID colon number one, name colon string, email colon so on. This is the way you are going to represent in TypeScript. Pure TypeScript we are going to see. Done. Next, so you are going to declare this variable. How to bind variable data to HTML page. Simply now you are defined some user details, ID, name and email. I need to bind these details. How to bind? So go step by step. So most of the people are referred me for their friends. I going to explain each and every concept as a steps. If you remember the steps, very easy to learn the subject, very easy to answer the question, very easy to remember also. Step one. Step one. Go to app module ts file, import forms module. This is my step one. So where is my app module ts file? See the names. If you observe here, you can able to see app module.ts file. .ts is nothing but a TypeScript file. Go there, app module.ts file. Step one, import forms module. So hope everybody done the setup right. Please don't wait. Already our sessions are started from yesterday itself. Don't be think 3-4 days to be wait until. Please keep on practice. Already few members, whatever they have the doubts, texted me, and don't be wait until the next session to ask the doubts. Okay, whenever you're having the doubts, you can able to text in my WhatsApp, or else you can able to call and ask. Next, step one, forms module import. Next, step two, add this forms module inside of imports. Add this forms module inside of imports. Now by this moment you can't able to know what is the declaration, what is the import, what is the provider, what is the bootstrap. Okay, step by step we will go. First we are going to hard code the data. Yes, I have hard coded my name. In the step, in the next process, I want to get the data from a component. So this is the way you need to get the component data. In the next, you are going to get the data from API calls. Maybe after 10 or 15 days, we are going to see how to call an API, bind the data also. Okay. So add this forms module inside of imports. Okay. So why I need to add inside of imports only, which is the rule. Okay, which is the Angular rule. You need to be add a modules inside of imports. Next, step 3, go to the respective component. Which component? App component. So by this moment we are discussing about app component. By this moment we are discussing about app component. Go to the respective app component, create a variable or variables, whatever you want you can do. You can able to create simple variables or a variable. So like this you already have, right? For example, name colon string, create a variable. So see the syntax, variable name colon data type is equal to data. So syntactically, if anybody asks the syntax, you need to be write like this. So less than symbols will be indicate the this is mandatory. So the square brackets will be indicate optional. Whenever somebody will ask a question like please write a syntax, so don't be write a name colon string is equal to some name. Don't be write like this. Simply write like this. This is the syntactical format. This is my variable. This is my variable. This is my data type. So in between you are having a colon. So the colon you mention here. Next, this is my data. Okay. So earlier, maybe before in the sessions, you can able to answer somebody ask you how to create a some email colon string is equal to email. But after this session, variable colon data type is equal to the email. Simply say like this syntaxes. Okay. So this is the syntax of a variable, which is the syntax of your variable. Next, my syntax is created and I have created a variable. Next, step 4. Go to the HTML, nothing but your view. HTML file or a HTML page. Use binding to bind variable to bind variable. That's it. So how to binding? Simply you can able to use expression. So by there is a number of ways to bind the data. In this session, simply I created a one variable. I'm going to create I'm going to bind that variable inside our HTML page. Go to your HTML page, use binding concept, use expression binding concept. Use expression binding concept. So this expression is done by using 2 flower braces. Set of 2 flower braces. If anybody know the React, they're using the single flower. Here 2 flower braces. This expression also called as simply this is the thing, but just this is the indication. Don't be write this one. So you need to bind like this. So this also is called as interpolation or string binding also. Interpolation or string binding also. Okay. So let us go to where I need to go. The step number 1 done or not? Done. Step number 2 completed or not? Completed. Step number 3 created variable or not? Completed. Step number 4, please go to your app component HTML page, bind the data. So let us first I need to bind the ID. Okay. I need to bind the ID. After ID, each time please use the one division div tag. Next, to set of 2 flower braces. Next one is the name. Next set of flower braces. Next one is the email. Save it. Okay, the code is compiled. Able to see ID, name, email. So this is the what you are going to be bind the information. First in the session, what we have seen about how to hard code the data. This is the hard coded data. Later in the session, we are following a 4 steps. 4 steps to create a variable and bind the values to here. Okay. So whenever I'm going to create a variable, do I need to follow all the steps? No. The app module is the one-time setup. First step number 1, step number 2 is not repeated further. These are not required. Why so? Only one-time setup. Only one-time setup. You don't need to be worry all these steps. Only you need to be work with remaining steps. So you need to be work with remaining steps only. What are the remaining steps? Step 3 and step 4. Step 1 and step 2 are only one-time setup. Okay. So now you will get a confusion. Sir, you are directly imported forms module, what it is. Okay. Few classes are required to understand, but by this class, simply follow the steps. Okay. Step by step here, I'm going to dictate. Please follow me. That's it. This is the way you are going to bind the information. Okay. So ID, name, email. These are the data types. So anybody having the doubts as of now?
No, that's fine, Krishna.
Good, good. Himaja, Mega, Rajwal, Ramakrishna, Sanjay, Sivteja.
Yeah, Chaitanya,
Yeah, Ramakrishna.
can you please navigate to the code once?
Okay.
There in the top line, no, it is a HTML, app component.html.
App component.html.
No, here in the page. In the
Okay,
app
okay. App
component,
component HTML.
there is the first line is there is a breadcrumb like a div and a div. First one. The
First one is
line
the div.
No,
Okay, this div.
first line. No, the above line. It is showing right.
No. You
top
can able to
one,
say
app
line
component.
number. No need to be top or bottom. Which line number you want to go?
Top above the line 1.
Above line, I don't have anything.
No, that again div came
Sir,
right.
that
It
is
will
the path.
automatically
That is the path.
Okay,
App
path.
component.html. Within that is the division.
Okay, user navigation path it
Yes.
is.
Oh, this one. Okay, okay.
Ah,
Okay. No need to worry. That is the path.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Chaitanya.
Okay. So this is the path you can able to navigate. So if I go here, this is your division. So if you want to navigate back, right, whenever you have the large number of code, 1,000 lines of code, easy to navigate. Like this, you can able to go.
Okay.
You can able to go the files. I'll leave about this one. Right? You are inside of app folder, inside of app component HTML page, inside of the division.
Okay.
So this is the what.
Okay, thank you.
So this is the way you need to bind the data. Next, if I want to represent one more data, ID1, colon number, for example, 2 is equal to 2. Next, name 1, colon string is equal to, for example, Ramakrishna. Okay. Email colon string is equal to r@gmail.com. See, whenever you are having the same data type, so at that time you can't able to create the variables names. So why I'm adding the ID? Already have the ID, that's why given the ID. If you observe here you are having the email, correct? So if I use the same email again, now we will get a issue. But this is specific to one user details. This also is specific to one more user details. Okay, so how to handle this type of multiple situations, that we will discuss, because you can't able to create each and every time a variable. Okay, to solve the situation you are going to use the objects. Okay, if I say email 1, then it will work. I can able to bind again the email. Again one more details, I can able to bind like user details to ID1, next name 1, next email 1. Okay, 1 Krishna k@2 Rama r@gmail.com. But are you going to create multiples? No need to worry. Okay, so we are going to create a object. Object will be responsible for that one. We'll see in detail about those things. Next. So ID1 app component HTML file. Let me save here. So here we have seen what type of flow here. Component, model and view. Is that clear with this example? So this is the architecture, but no need to worry, your direct component will be called, but here you need to know about Angular application flow. Once you are confident on Angular application flow, then very easy to understand the flow. Okay, Angular application flow. Take it as a simple heading, Angular application flow. Okay. So I will explain this Angular application flow and we'll conclude our session. See here. So as a user, this is my browser window. So this is my browser. Why it is camera? So once a user requested, right, then this request will be come to the specific domain. For example, as a user, if I requested, first it will go to the domain. In the domain, your application will be there. Your application will be there. So this is your application. So this is your Angular application. Inside of Angular application, first index.html file will be called. Which file? Once user is requested, it will go to the domain. From this domain, first index.html will be called. Next, this index.html will be called your app folder, app files, your application specific files. What are those? App module file. So this is nothing but your app. Your app folder. So first from the index.html, app will be called. First app module will be invoke. So inside of app module, you are going to call app component. So this app component will be called app component view file, nothing but your HTML page. Okay, so this app component HTML is the major HTML file which will be all calls your respective components, which is the parent component. For example, if you want to design, I need to design a menu here, top banner, left section, right section, like this you are having the right. This is your top banner. This is your left section. This is your right middle content. All these things will be called from your app component file. So next one is the app component file. So this app component will have the specific component files. The app component will have the specific component files. For example, component 1, component 2, component 3. So like this, you are going to have number of components. So this is the Angular application flow. So let me, this is our component 2. Okay, next, these components will be connected to the services. These component will be connected to a services. Why so services? You need to fetch the information from API or not? So here services will be relay. Each component will be connected to a one service. Can I have the multiple components can able to connected to a single service? Yes, also. So here you are going to have a services. Okay, what is the responsibility of the services? To give the service.
Business logic.
Correct, business logic. Or else if you want to call the API also. Okay, these services will be call your API. These services will be call your API. Okay, so this is your total application flow will be go. This is the way the application flow will be go. So as a user, you are going to send the request. It will check for the domain. If you observe, right, enter the old domain names are unique. In that specific domain, somewhere in the cloud, it will go to that cloud. First, it is the Angular application. It will be called index.html page. This index.html will be called your app folder. App folder contains the three things: component, module, and view. So this component will be called, this component view will be called respective component. For example, menu component, middle section component, whatever component you want, it will call like this. So this component will be called the service, but each time a component requires the service, no. Based on your requirement, based on your logic, a component can able to call the services, that is up to that. Next, this service will be called API. So this API will fetch the some information to your service. It will send to the component. So this component will be rendered inside of your app component. Next, this will be load inside of index page. So next, finally, a user can able to see browser. Okay. This is the simple Angular application flow. Okay, so here can be a question, how many services I be able to create based on your requirement? How many components based on your requirements? The components are called from responsible from the views. Okay, so all these things will see the practical. This is the simple Angular architecture. Please take this diagram. So any doubts? Anil, Bittu, Chanareddy, Ganesh, Himaja. So if you have any single confusion also, let me know itself. Or else you can able to practice and come up with the exact doubts also. Maybe sometimes you
So,
need to be
Krishna,
practice.
hi.
Yes.
So in the interview, some one question is asked, can you explain the bootstrapping process of the Angular application?
Yes, that
So-
bootstrapping we'll see tomorrow. So because of the bootstrapping only,
Hmm.
I hope everybody taken this one. So because of the bootstrapping only, this index.html file will call app module first. Okay, so how this call? There is some Java JSON files are there. So here app module you are having the concept of bootstrapping. So this bootstrapping will be call your app component. Okay. So that is a separate concept for just you to be understand. Here you are having the bootstrap, right? So here you are having the app component. Right click, go to definition. So this is your thing. Okay. So
Then
in this
what is this concept which is showing in diagram? What this concept called?
what is this concept I explained, team?
Angular application flow.
Okay, please be here.
Okay.
So if you think like, sir, Angular contain the modules, where is my module? Here you are having the app module, right? So again, you are having the feature module also. All these things will be discussed. Okay. So what we have discussed today in the session, hope everybody taken, right? Let us have some questions. So every day we're going to have the 5 to 6 questions and followed by the lab. So what we have discussed first, what is a data type and types of data types. Next, how MVC application, what is MVC application flow? Okay. Next, Angular application flow. Angular application flow. What else we discussed? How to bind the simple names in view from component. So out of these 5 questions, 2 to 3 questions are definitely will ask. Yes, right. Already Bittu saying that one. He is saying that application flow, Angular application flow is asked. Data types also will be asked. Okay. So take it as today lab. Hope everybody created Angular application, right? So
Yes,
set up
you
Angular
do.
application. Next, take it as a lab. Show some data in UI. So please first do the static data. Second, use variables to bind data. First, to show some static data, use variables to bind some data. Okay. Please be practicer. Don't be hide yourself. Whenever you are having the doubt, please raise a doubt. Ask to me. Okay. I'm always available on the WhatsApp. You can able text or call to me. Okay. Okay. So any doubts on today's session? Can we disclose?
Yes.
Okay. So use the same link and the same time. Please join tomorrow.